Right, what I'm going to be talking about, just for a few minutes, we were thinking about what kind of things have worked well and what have worked badly in Cheshire. And one of the things we found works quite well is community events. So we thought it might be useful if we run through a few tips and tricks. Now, these are just a few things. Obviously, there's a lot to do with these things, but I would say now there is one priority that we always do with these things. We have fun. We actually look forward to doing it. Even if we're up to our fetlocks in mud, we still have a bit of a laugh as well. And getting Alia into the Gaia costume on its own is an absolute performance, which is hilarious. So we do recommend these also as a fun thing for ambassadors to do, but also useful. And the aim of the events that we do is to cascade information and also to get people thinking about their carbon footprint. So I'm going to go through 5 sort of areas that we have to do when we do our events. So the first one, let's get the mouse in the right place, is venue. Now, we've done it in various places now. We've done a station, a forest visitor centre, a shopping centre, a community garden. And the one thing they have in common, these places, is they have footfall anyway. We're not the main attraction. We're not inviting people to an event. We're just grabbing a corner of somebody else's busy little part of the world. And it's always the best way to do, we think, community events, because you haven't got to go out and spread the word to millions of people. They're going to turn up at Stockport Station anyway. So the next thing I would suggest then is ask at least 6. We did that with all of these. Sometimes they weren't the first place we wanted to go. We picked somewhere else and we never heard again. But one of the things I do recommend is when you write to people or email them, first of all, you need to find the right person to talk to, which is always, the man is always a bit of a job. But when you do find the right person and you email them, stick a couple of photos on of other things you've done. So, for example, when I got the Stockport Station one and we took some photos, when we talked to Delamere Forest, we sent photos of Stockport Station, happy smiley faces. And obviously Delamere Forest would like to see happy smiley faces in their area. So it does encourage them to let you come. So a couple of places there. Stockport was particularly good in that there was a constant stream of people, but we were very careful to only talk to the people who were arriving. The people who were dashing off for trains, we left those in peace. And as always, with all of these events, it was aimed at talking to individual people about reducing their climate footprint. So that's the venue idea. Content. All right. Now, there's a few things we use in the content on these stands. Firstly, don't be impressed by the fact it's a stand with a cover on. That's actually somebody's kitchen table, somebody else's coffee table, and a marquee that we borrowed off one of the Cheshire WIs. They very kindly lent it to us. So we don't actually have a very fancy stand or anything like that. We just put it together from things we had within our group. So the 2 things that we'll have to do all the time is keep it simple and keep it colourful, because people are coming towards you from a distance. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're talking about. We can't do a neon sign, so we do colour. So on the left there, you can see the pledge tree. This goes with us everywhere. And originally, it was literally a cardboard tree. But then we have a wonderful member's husband, a real wish, this guy, who built us a beautiful wooden one, which is very light, so he can carry it round. And we just use Post-it notes. If we're doing Show the Love, we do heart-shaped Post-it notes just to get the message across. The other thing on the right there, that's our climate scarf. And that's Linda, who actually knitted that one. She's knitted several, and I've got one that Susan's knitted for me. The good thing about the climate scarf is it starts a conversation where people go, so what's that then? And when you explain what it is, and when they notice the red as they get towards the end, wow! And it's a brilliant visual tool, costs very little to make as long as you know how to knit. If you stick it up on your stand, it will provide conversations, particularly if you say to people, do you know what the scarf is? And that's what this is all about, just talking to people. So keep it simple and, take things with you over and over again. We always take the scarf. We always take the pledge. That's fine. If you see a good idea, steal it. So if you like any of these ideas, do please steal them. We loved Verity, which was an idea that Shropshire had of a giant, and we invited Verity to the Stockport event. And the thing with Verity was she draws the attention of people from quite a long way away. She's a conversational starter again. And children like having the photograph taken with her as well, except very small ones. They tend to run away, but the others love it. So we have one now. Her name is Gaia, and she brings people from miles away. She'll wander around just with a sign on saying who she is, and then she'll wander back to the stand and she'll have a train of people coming after her. So we do recommend a giant. It's a good visual way of personifying the earth that we're talking about and that we're trying to protect, and also attract the eye. And you have to have patience to get in and out of it. I don't know how Alia does it, honestly. It's amazing. But yeah, if you do see a good idea, I do recommend you borrow it. An important part of what we do is the children. Now, ironically, we don't talk to the children to convince them to reduce their carbon footprint. And we certainly don't talk to children to get them to think about climate change, because without exception, they already do. Every child I've ever spoken to at all the events we've done in the last 6 years has been aware of the problem of the climate crisis and wishes we would fix it. And that's absolute truth, honestly. I've never met a single child that goes, what climate crisis? They know, God love them, and they worry. So what we do in the case of the children, while we're getting the grown-ups to think about turning the thermostat down or trying a meal without a steak in it, we have the children something that they can express that feeling, their worry, their concern. So it's not a case of keeping the children busy, it's a case of giving the children a voice. And all of our craft things are designed to give them a voice. So, for example, when we did the Open Cloth one, which was a community garden that we did recently, we had them doing a calendar. If you can see on the table there, a little girl, she's built a calendar for herself. We got some of those little calendar things you can just stick on, they're like 2p each or something. And on that calendar, she wrote a promise that she was going to do something. Now, what she was actually going to do, she was going to turn her iPlayer off at the plug. It's a little thing, but excuse me, it made her feel a lot better. And she promised it in writing on her calendar. We make it a promise rather than a pledge for the children. In the case of the one on the right, which is Delamere, we told the children if they wrote a get well card for the planet, we would get it to COP26. Now, this was a big promise, but thanks to NFWI, we did actually deliver it because we turned it into a video, which I will show you later. But in each case, what we're trying to do is give the children a way of expressing their worry about the planet, because they're so helpless compared to us. There's so much we can do, and there's very little they can do. So it's a voice rather than a nag in the case of the children. Branding. When some strange woman walks up to you and talks to you, this can be unnerving, particularly if she's talking to you about something you'd rather not think about, like the climate crisis. So we wear sashes. They cost £4 each. They're really easy to get hold of. Bless them, our federation bought them for us because they're incredibly supportive, Cheshire Federation, of their ambassadors. And when we wear them, we immediately become a WI lady. Slightly formidable in reputation, but trustworthy and not threatening, not scary, no agenda. Everyone knows what the WI stand for in that way. So it's really helpful having the sash. Just having WI Climate Ambassador, you've already explained almost everything they need to know about you, other than your name. So I really do recommend the sashes because they do break down barriers. They do allow you to talk to strange children without being looked at by their parents horrified. In fact, they're quite happy to see you. And they do mean that they stop people worrying about who you are. And they're really cool. I do like a sash, I have to say. The other thing is the national events branding. In particular, of course, show the love. Because if you repeat that, if you all wear green hearts, if you have a big green heart on your stand, if you have a heart-shaped banner, anything you do, it's echoed across the country. So people recognise it and they're happy with it and they think, oh, that's climate, that is. Big branding, all paid for by the Climate Coalition, of course. We don't have to actually do any branding work, it's all done for us. And the other brand we use is our own federation, that we are Cheshire and that we're local. Because again, a big strength of ambassadors is that we're rooted in the local area. So they all know we're from Cheshire. We live here too. We haven't been parachuted in from somewhere else. We're from here. So again, branding is a real help with these sort of events, and it doesn't cost much. I think we got those entire lot of hearts for about £2. And I say the sashes £4 or £5 each. And anybody wants to know where to get them, just email me. I'm quite happy to help. So branding is very important, so they do know who that woman is. Support. This is probably the most important part. We support each other, us Cheshire ambassadors. We're actually good friends as well, which is nice. We meet regularly, still on Zoom now, but we used to meet in coffee shops and have cake, or in each other's houses and have cake. Back in the day, it was lovely. In fact, we used to fight whether we went to Frodsham to Fiona for her fabulous cake or to Alia's for her fabulous cake. That was usually our biggest decision. But unfortunately, we've not been able to do that because of COVID, but we've kept in touch anyway. We meet on Zoom regularly, and we talk about all the other things we do, like talking to members and talking to other WIs and the various events we try and do within the Federation other than these. And of course, we talk about these. Now, we have another event due on the 13th of February this year. We're meeting at Bridgemere Garden Centre to do one of these community events. So we'll be meeting up, we'll talk on Zoom, we'll get it all sorted. But we're at the stage now where we sort of slot into our places. We all know which bits we're good at and which bits we're bad at. Jean will get the children. Jean always gets the children. I'll be sent out to drag people in because that's the sort of person I am. And each of us will just slot into our roles and really enjoy ourselves. So I do recommend that you rely on your own ambassadors. If, as Alia said before, you're a lone ambassador, then talk to your neighbours. Anyone around the area of Cheshire who'd like to join us would be so welcome, honestly. More the merrier. They can come to one of our events. They can do what they like. You're very welcome to talk to us. Just drop an email. There is strength in numbers. NFWI will also help with things like brochures and badges and promotion and advice. So you can always talk to Fiona. Local WI members, whenever we do an event like a Bridgemere, we get in touch with Bridgemere WI, and they usually help too. If only to fetch cake to the stand, but we do get local helps. And other organisations that are pushed will help. The Soil Association want to work with us at Bridgemere because they're very keen on keeping peat in the bog, and we are very keen on keeping peat in the bog too, so we're going to work with them. So there's a lot of support if you just ask. And finally, promotion. Now, if you take my advice at the beginning and you only do venues that already have footfall, then your promotion, the most important part of your promotion, ironically, is after the event. Because if you do an event, then you'll talk to 100 people. If you then put that event on social media and in local magazines, for example, the parish newspaper newsletter or the church newsletter or your WI newsletter or the local paper, then you're contacting hundreds more with exactly the same message and smiley faces that show it's a good message to have. So here I've done a picture for Oakland Clough that we did, which I told you about the garden, and I've put some smiley pictures, and I've put Alia, and I've made sure there's an earth on there, and the police wandered in and didn't arrest us, which is always nice. So it's a good case of promoting after the event as well as before, and invite people. We've had several MPs turn up, we've had mayors turn up, we've had the council turn up on several occasions. These are all decision makers, people with power. And if they see hundreds of the people who vote for them nodding at you and agreeing with what you say, then they're being encouraged to go for the green agenda. And they're being encouraged to vote for the right legislation. And they're being encouraged to look again at the 180 homes that we're going to let them build in your county and make sure they really do have solar panels on the roof. So it does work. If you let them see that people care, then they will care. So any more ideas are very welcome. We love ideas, as you know. We stole Alia's Federation idea for Shropshire, and we're very happy with her. We love her. And there's other things that we've picked up at different events that we use. And we would be delighted if you used everything that we do, our little card game, so that you can put the cards in order, because all of these things do is start the conversation. And that's what a community event, we think, is all about. So these are some of the things that work for us. Please tell us what you're doing. Please share ideas. And contact us if you want to know about any of these, or if you want these slides, although they're mainly just pictures, really, because we really are stronger together. Thank you for listening.